So, Christopher Ward have just released a couple of new jump hour watches, the C1 Jump Hour Mark V. They were kind enough to send me one to review, and I have a lot of thoughts. Here's everything you need to know about this new watch, the good, the bad, and the ugly. If you're new here, my name is Brittany, and on this channel we just talk all things watches. Before we go any further, for full transparency, I have had this press piece in for a couple of weeks. I still have it in now, but I do have to send it back. This isn't sponsored or anything like that. These are just my honest thoughts on a watch. As the name would suggest, this is their 5th jump hour using the JJ01 module, but this is very different from a design perspective, and I think this really solidifies the direction Christopher Ward is heading towards. Like, if we look at this watch's forerunners, they feel a lot dressier and more traditional, whereas this feels modern, clean, and a lot sportier. Looking at the specifications, this has a 39mm stainless steel case, 14mm thickness, and a lug-to-lug of 47.3mm. So here it is on my 5.5-inch wrist versus my husband's 7-inch wrist for comparison. At first, when I heard the lug-to-lug, I thought, that's pretty small wrist friendly, but I will say, it has a lot of wrist presence. It feels larger than I thought it would, and I think that 14mm thickness really adds to how it feels on wrist. It doesn't feel like a hockey puck, or it isn't super slab-sided or anything like that. A lot of the thickness is from the domed sapphire, which plays a huge part in adding depth to the dial and is a part of the overall design. I'd say this is made for a 6.5-inch wrist circumference and larger. Anything under 6.5 inches will feel a bit oversized, but maybe that's the look you're going for. I'd say this looks good on me, great on my husband, but what else is new? Back on specs, we have 30 meters of water resistance, great lume that fills the inner ring, minute hand, and hour window, kind of feeling futuristic, and of course, the jump hour complication. I have a massive soft spot in my heart for the jump hour complication. I think it looks awesome. It's so cool. I love anything that forces the viewer to relearn how they tell the time, how they look at a watch. The way Christopher Ward has laid this out, it's really not tricky to catch on with the hour being so prominent at 12 o'clock and the more traditional hand displaying the minutes, but more on that in the design portion. Let's talk about the movement. Powering this watch is a Sellita SW200-1 with JJ01 module, which is a jump hour complication developed by former Christopher Ward master watchmaker Johannes Janka, adjusting the way the watch displays the time and drawing a consistent amount of power, generating a sharp, instantaneous change in hour. This has a tolerance of plus minus 20 seconds per day and approximately 38 to 41 hours of power reserve. Something I've always respected about Christopher Ward is transparency with their movements. They never try to hide behind a caliber name, which is really secretly a modified Sellita or ETA. They tell you exactly what's going on, the modifications that have been made, and I really respect that. So, very good movement, but one question I still had lingering was around servicing. With the JJ module, does it need proprietary servicing? What's the deal? I reached out to Christopher Ward. They replied saying the module and the way it affixes to the base movement is proprietary and should be serviced with the brand in Maidenhead. Let's talk about the design. This is the real standout thing for me. This is really different than their pre-existing jump hours, and I think it solidifies the new design code of the brand. I would say the Bel Canto was the first big pivot, and from there, they seem to have established the design codes going forward. Modern, straight lines, architectural, and this falls completely within that. The dial is pretty complex with a 4-tier construction. At the center is a stamped inner piece with 27 concentric circles. Then a polished, applied metal ring sits above with a brushed finishing. And then is the sapphire ring with printed minute markers. The minute hand is also sapphire with a step design coming from a steel inner part that has an undercoat of superluminova giving a cool blue glow. Design-wise, this is fascinating. It's a really cool construction and uses a lot of sapphire. Whether you love it or hate it, you have to concede that it is an interesting design. One area I can't decide if I like it or hate it is with the minute hand. I think they did some clever workarounds. This style of jump hour will usually have a small, kind of stumpy minute hand, which will allow the viewers to see the hourly jump. The solution here was using sapphire, so the transparency would still allow you to see the hourly jump and not be stumpy and awkward. It still somewhat obstructs it. I think it might be my only nitpick, but I think it's a very clever workaround. The use of loom and the way that they use loom is also a nice touch. It adds to the sporty feeling, and it kind of looks Tron-like in the dark. Moving past the dial, this features their light catcher case, which is a proprietary case design that, well, catches the light with a combination of brushed and polished surfaces. The vertical brushing is done beautifully with brushed flanks, a polished bezel, and chamfer lugs. Turning this over, the case back displays the journey of the jump hour wheel with 12 stops and the minutes between. As you guys know, I am a big fan of a closed case back with interesting decoration, so I love this, but I think most people would have preferred a display case back. So that's all the technical stuff. Let's get to pure opinion. Let's do the good, the bad, and the ugly, but let's start off positive. As for what's good, I mean, the design. I love the way this looks. I found it very surprising, modern, and cool. I feel like it's a watch that people will notice and compliment because it is so cool. It is so unique and eye-catching. I think Christopher Ward has been raising the bar so much these last few years in terms of design, especially in terms of design, that they might be making a rod for their own back. People's expectations of them are so high, and they always meet and or exceed. 5 years ago, this design, what they have just released, would have been shocking, like the Bel Canto. And now, because of what Christopher Ward has been making these last few years, it's not that it's expected, but it probably doesn't get the that it deserves. That wasn't very descriptive. And I'm not saying that it's underrated. People are talking about it. People are excited. But I think they're making a rod for their own back in the best way possible. Watchmakers and houses should be pushing the envelope and putting out the best product possible. Always. Next thing that is good, the jump hour is really concise and crisp and even makes a little flick sound, which I love. A little bit like the Bel Canto, it's little things like this that keep me more aware of time and present in my day. I will hear the little flick when I am working in my office, and it just serves as a quiet reminder that, it's 11 a.m. or whatever time it is. It's really the design that steals the show for me. I mean, it's a Christopher Ward. The specs will always be good. The design is fantastic. There's not a lot to complain about. I also haven't talked about color yet. I don't know how I haven't talked about this. So these are available in 2 different colors. I have the more light blue, which is called Noon. Really beautiful. Well done. And Dawn is the other color, which is a light beige. So for the bad, I want to keep it to things that are a bit more objectively not good. And then in the ugly, we will get a bit more subjective. I mean, anything I can find that is bad will probably be linked to the price point. Like the SW200-1 caliber doesn't have the best accuracy at plus/minus 20 seconds per day, but I don't think many people will be buying this for the accuracy. If anything, you are probably excited by the JJ01 module. I also think the thickness will be a bit problematic for people. Anything over 12 millimeters starts to raise alarm bells in my mind, and I think there will be a lot of comments about this. But it's not as bad as it initially sounds. The case construction isn't thick and slab-sided, which would be my primary worry. The case back absorbs some of it, but a lot of it is in the domed sapphire, allowing the dial to be so multi-layered. So, you know, it is still thick, and for some people that might be a deal breaker, but it isn't slab-sided or inelegant. My last complaint is the hand and how it somewhat obstructs the jump hour and getting the full view of the time flippy goodness. I don't have any solutions for this. It's either a short stumpy hand or this, if we want to keep the design the same with the minute track in line with the hour. Okay, subjective complaints time, and we all know where this is going. The size, and this is just a me thing. I think most people would say 39 millimeters is the perfect size. This is what most watch nerds say. So I know it's just a me thing. This was absolutely made with the average to larger wrist size in mind. What it really is that I'm jealous because I want these proportions for me. But they've got to make money. They have to sell it to someone. So they're not going to probably make watches for people with 5.5-inch wrists. It's going to be for 6.5-inch, 7-inch wrist sizes and larger. The proportions will be great. But anyways, guys, that is everything you need to know about this newest release from Christopher Ward. As always, this is a discussion. I'd love to know your thoughts in those comments down below. Thank you so much for your viewership. Thank you to the Pope tier patrons, whose names are on the screen right now. Thank you to all tier patrons. Just thank you, fabulous people. Hello, Pope tier patrons. Oh yeah, you know what it is. Thank you to the names on the screen. This is the highest tier of patrons. They keep the lights on here. All patrons keep the lights on here. They keep this channel going. I hope you keep enjoying the work we do here. I hope you keep enjoying these videos. I love making them. And even if you don't keep enjoying them, that's okay. Thank you so much for being here. And yeah, I hope you keep enjoying watches forever. They're fabulous. You're fabulous. Okay, bye guys.